please stand for the pledge and a silent invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Amen.
Can I get the roll call, please?
John Junko, Bo Bofamy,
I'm here.
Tom Jordan,
Here.
Lance Green,
Here.
Newton White,
Here.
Stan Schmidt,
Here.
Chair Mills Benetti.
Here. Consideration of the minutes from all the way back to February. Can I get a motion for those?
Move to approve the minutes from February.
Second.
Roll, please.
Bo Bofamy,
Yes.
Tom Jordan,
Yes.
Lance Green,
Yes.
Newton White,
Yes.
Stan Schmidt,
Yes.
Chair Mills Benetti.
Yes. All right. So, first up on the agenda, small scale future land use map amendment for all aboard storage.
Should we read the voting conflict one first?
Oh, read it first? Okay. I was going to read it after.
Mm.
First, we have a voting conflict, Daryl Bofamy, with, he is a real estate agent for the adjacent property owner, and the outcome of the vote could have an impact on the value of her property and ultimately my compensation. For case number 19-00000005, all aboard storage. The request is for the change of comprehensive plan future land use designation for 4.07 acres from Volusia County urban low density to City of Port Orange office residential transition. Penny.
Good evening, Penelope Cruz Planning. If you would like, if it's the pleasure of the board, if you'd like to also open item 6 at the same time as they're related, and that way we could talk freely about both of them and then vote separately at the end.
Oh, yeah, item number 5. Item number 5 and 6 together. That's good with me. Item number 5 and 6 together. Number 6 is, if it will load, approve rezoning of 10.2 acres to all aboard storage Taylor Road planned commercial development and the master development agreement and conceptual development plan, case number 19-65000003.
Good evening. The subject property is located on the south side of Taylor Road, southeast of Crane Lakes Golf and Country Club. The first item before you, the small-scale future land use amendment, is the property here shown in the shaded kind of teal color. This property was annexed into the city in January 2019, and at that public hearing for the annexation, the developer indicated that it was the intent to include this 4-acre property into the proposed all-aboard storage planned commercial development to be developed as a self-storage facility similar to the existing all-aboard Westport storage facility on South Taylor. So this first item is the request to change the future land use for the 4-acre piece of property here outlined in black, the smaller piece, because it was annexed into the city and now needs to receive a city future land use and zoning on it as well. So the request is to go from the current Volusia County urban low intensity category to office residential transition. The adjacent 6-acre property to the north here, which is part of the next item as a whole, was actually changed to this same request of office residential transition in 2000. And at that time, this use of office residential transition was found to be consistent with the comprehensive plan in the surrounding area. This is similar to the request before you tonight. The consistency relates similar to it did in 2000 for the adjacent property as far as being consistent with the comprehensive plan, state requirements, and compatibility with the surrounding area. The subject property fits the locational criteria for this category. It provides for a medium intensity use consistent with other existing uses near the property, such as Cracker Creek, Crane Lakes Public Golf Course, and public restaurant, Crane's Roost. It's also located along Taylor Road, which is designated as an arterial roadway. And although the theoretical maximum analysis for the future land use for this 4-acre piece, as required by state law, shows an increase in infrastructure impacts, the actual impact is significantly less, or actually decreases, when the proposed development of the site as a whole for the overall 10 acres is evaluated. So staff's recommendation of approval for this future land use amendment is based on the actual development proposed on the subject property, which is outlined in the next item, for a self-storage facility with limited office and retail space. So the second item before us tonight is the request to rezone from planned commercial development in Volusia County A2 to the all aboard storage Taylor Road PCD and approve the all aboard storage Taylor Road PCD master development agreement and conceptual development plan. The overall property, which includes, and I'm sorry I forgot to put the boundary here, includes this 6-acre piece to the north and the 4-acre piece that we were just talking about. It's about 10 acres, a little bit over 10 acres. This 6-acre piece is currently, as you can see, is currently zoned PCD, but it doesn't have an active MDA or concept plan. In 2000, this 6-acre portion was approved for 2 medical office buildings for Halifax Hospital with a combined square footage of 43,800 square feet. That MDA expired in 2005, and the property remained vacant, but still has a future land use designation of office residential transition and is still zoned PCD. The remaining 4 acres to the south, as we discussed, was annexed in January 2019 and still has that Volusia County A2 zoning. The current developer, Andy Clark, All Aboard Properties, has submitted a new MDA and concept plan to establish the dimensional requirements and development regulations for the overall 10-acre portion of the property, which would include a three-story storage building, 7 one-story storage buildings, covered RV and boat storage, and a 1-storage office building. As we were talking about on the previous item, that 4-acre piece to the south, the 6-acre piece to the north, does have an existing office residential transition future land use category, and does have currently commercial zoning on it. It would be feasible that it could be rezoned to a conventional zoning category of, say, professional office or office residential transition, because it has that future land use right now. So by state law, it could possibly be rezoned to something like that and be developed at a much more intense use than what is proposed here tonight. Much more intense uses that are allowed by conventional zoning in comparison to self-storage. So staff's recommendation on this next item is also based on the specific PCD rezoning request for the self-storage facility, because it is not requesting any deviations from our land development code, and it's a use that generates much less traffic than other uses that could go there. If approved, the MDA and the concept plan proposed before you tonight would provide that regulatory framework for the development of the property, as we discussed, with the various storage buildings and the office building. This concept plan that's on the screen here and was also in your packet shows the general layout of the proposed buildings, the storage buildings, the multi-tenant building over here, the internal covered RV and boat storage, stormwater improvements, tree preservation areas, landscape buffers, parking, sidewalks, transportation improvements, and the access at the signalized intersection. The dimensional requirements in the MDA are equal or greater to those required in the Land Development Code. The landscape buffers proposed also are equal or greater than what's required in the Land Development Code. Proposed is a 20-foot buffer, roadway buffer along Taylor Road, a 25-foot buffer to the north, a 20-foot buffer, there's my cursor, to the east, and a 40-foot buffer to the south. Oops. The developer is also dedicating right-of-way, you can see here in yellow, 60 feet of frontage along Taylor Road to Volusia County for the future right-of-way of Taylor Road. This area would remain wooded until Volusia County would clear their right-of-way for that widening. And then the 20-foot required landscape buffer starts at the back of the future right-of-way line to maintain that 20-foot buffer. He's also proposing a 6-foot screening wall that you can see here in red to provide additional screening from vehicles that may be traveling on Taylor Road. And then the rear screening, the buildings along the rear would have the same architectural treatment as the front and would act as that screen wall along the rear as well. Access will be provided from the signalized intersection. The MDA requires that the developer would install a 4th traffic signal head at the intersection of Taylor Road and Crane Lakes Boulevard, along with any required pedestrian improvements. The developer would also be required to construct an eastbound right turn lane and a westbound left turn lane at the intersection to assist in maintaining roadway capacity. So with that, the applicant is here to answer any questions you may have. We also have Crane Lakes HOA watching via Zoom, and the HOA president would like to speak on behalf of their board via Zoom, and there may be some other members in the audience that would also like to speak on this.
If it suits the board, if we could hear from the applicant, and then we'll bring Penny back up for all of our questions afterwards so we can get her situated all in one big spot.
That sounds good.
Sounds all right.
Want to come on up? Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Andy Clark. I'm the president and CEO of Allboard Storage and Allboard Properties. And yeah, I'm here to answer questions. I guess a little history of the property is we bought the first 6 acres thinking, that would be a good location for another self-storage facility because we have one on Williamson. And we determined that in order to meet the LDC, we needed more property to meet those setbacks and the landscaping and everything. So we want to build something that's really nice looking and state of the art. And so we bought the additional 4 acres in that little strip between the two. So it took a lot of time to assemble the extra land that was needed so that the project would, meet the city requirements. And, unfortunately there was some other self-storage facilities that have come into our market. And, for years we were the only self-storage operator in town. Now there's a couple others. But, so anyway, that's the reason why it's taken so long to come here before you, because we're trying to get it done just right. And, make sure we're addressing all the needs of the neighborhood and making sure it looks good. So we did have a neighborhood meeting at Crane Lakes, and a lot of the people there are interested in making sure it looks good and it's not going to adversely affect the traffic. And there were actually residents of Crane Lakes that are interested in storing their belongings or boats or RVs inside the property. And it's a fortress design, so as you said, you can't see, that creates its own buffer. So we are going to be making improvements to the road and a turning lane and dedicating more land to the future widening of Taylor. So if we don't build this, then there won't be at least those improvements made. So I hope that that you guys see fit to vote in approval and vote for this, because we plan on fixing the roadway issue there. And then self-storage itself is a low impact use, and we had traffic study done, and we have a lot of experience with self-storage. We have like 20 locations around the area, and I invited some of we own Maplewood Estates in Port Orange, and we have a self-storage right next to it, and it's really a quiet use. We have a manufactured home community right adjoining. It's not across the street, it's right next to it. And so some of those folks might be online to talk about what it's like to live next to a self-storage, but it's I lived there at Port Orange Depot for 7 years, and I know it's quiet, a quiet use. The building itself is going to look a lot like an office building. You know, I built the Clark office building on US 1, and that's I feel one of the best looking buildings in the city, and we've owned and maintained it for 20 years now, and we plan on building quality places to keep our reputation as good as we can. We're a family company. My daughter's our third generation, and she's the director of operations. She's here tonight too, and so we want to do something nice. I mean, this is our important property for us because it's our newest thing. So we want to do state of the art, and we're really pleased to be out there close to the Spruce Creek Fly-In, because that's an awesome demographic that we already serve, and we already have people that are our existing customers. I mean, we have almost 9,000 existing customers from our company, and we already have people that want to go to this location because of where it is and where they live and the customers they serve. Like in the Clark office building, William Gilmer is an eye doctor that's been with us for about 10 years, and he wants to come out and be in the little office segment that's by here, because it's close to the customers he serves, many of them in the Fly-In or in Crane Lakes. So we hope we chose this location on purpose because of its proximity to Crane Lakes and the Fly-In and all the new developments that are happening out there, because those are the folks that we want to serve. Those are our best customers. And so that's the main two things. Is we want it will look good, and it won't be a whole lot of traffic, especially compared to what could be built there. We've spent a lot of time trying to make it just right too, with regard to the buffering and landscaping and everything. So
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Lance, any questions for Mr. Clark?
No, other than the fly-ins, not our customers.
Oh, sorry. That's right. Different city. Sorry
No,
about that.
Just kidding.
Yes, you're right. Forgot about that.
They're still our customers.
One big happy family. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
One
Where
big
to the
family.
post office there in Port Orange?
Yeah.
Yeah, can we put a post office in there, please? Newton.
Yes. First, I wanted to thank you for, I think, one of the times you were here before, that was with the flea market on US 1, and that is consistently looking much better. And
Oh,
I
thank you.
thank you for that. I would also like to encourage you on your facility on Nova Road to work with the neighbors and get that interconnectivity between Waffle House and whatever it is to your north,
Okay.
AutoZone, I believe it is. It's something that's missing in the city. I know that changed in regulations after you were there, long after you were there, but it would be just so much better to be able to get from one place to the other and not
Stay
having
on
to go
topic.
out.
Yeah,
I am.
No, I agree with you.
I also hear quite frequently, not another storage facility, not another nursing home, and not another whatever.
Bank.
Could you speak to the demand for the self-storage?
Absolutely. Yeah, we wouldn't be building it if it wasn't a necessity there or a need. Typically, there's 1 out of 10 households rents self-storage. So we look at how many households are in a 3-mile radius. 1 to 3 mile radius is kind of where most of our customers come from. And in addition to the number of households, we look at the square footage that a typical market like Port Orange demands, which is 7 square feet per person within a 1 to 3 mile radius. That's the typical demand of square footage of self-storage. So those two factors you know, play into the market study that we did, and there's been more demand. I think demand's growing. In other words, you know, and I think it's going to be going from one household, 1 out of 10 households to maybe 1.5, 2 households will store, because I think over time, you know, customers will rent from us when they're in college for the first time, and then when they have a family, you know, they'll possibly rent again, and we have 28% of all of our rentals that we get have rented from us before, so we're really proud of that, because it speaks to our customer service and our what we're offering. So yes, there still is a demand, and it seems to be growing. More and more people seem to be storing. Right now, overall we're 91% occupancy on our units. We look at it, how many of our units do we have and how many are rented, and we look at square footage and also money occupancy, but our unit occupancy is 91% right now, and we monitor it every day. Especially we started doing that during the pandemic to make sure, because we weren't sure what it was going to do. It should be more like 95%, but during the pandemic it's down slightly. I mean, we're so blessed to have that, because I mean, it could have been, we were expecting a lot worse with the pandemic, but it hasn't been. So it appears we were able to stay open because it was deemed a essential business, because it has to do with trucking and storage and stuff. So anyway, so we're still that high, and on our occupancy, and you know, even with the Journey's End self-storage and the Acorn storage on Williamson, it hasn't adversely affected any of our
So the
of our
demand is-
occupancy. So that's
I
good.
appreciate your answer, that the
Yeah.
demand is still growing, and that's kind of the point that I wanted
Yeah,
to make.
yeah,
that
we don't wanna-
It's not,
Right. It's you know, I don't know really what the future is 20 years from now, or whatever. We often talk about that, because you know, with younger people, you know, they can rent stuff. You know, you can rent a bicycle, or you can rent you know, a kayak or canoe or something. So I think I've heard that, you know, the younger generation isn't as much into the possessions as maybe people my age might be with the possessions, and you know, us old guys like me.
I think he just called you
I was
old,
waiting for the
Lance.
adjective.
Yeah, I know, Lance and I are the same
You and
age.
Lance.
Yeah,
You and Lance.
maybe old dudes. But anyway, it's, who knows?
Do you have
Appreciate
anything
it.
else,
No,
Newton?
I'm done, thank you.
Stan?
No, no questions.
Tom?
Yeah, I've got 2 questions for you, Andy. So on the road that's, I guess, on the south side, goes down and stubs at the property line. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, following up on Newton's question, but this is relevant here. So, if the property owner to your east puts a road in and comes up and aligns with your stub, does the MDA require you to connect those 2 roads together?
Yes, we addressed that in the MDA, because you know, there's no way to get in off of Fern, that dirt road.
Mm-hmm.
So we agreed that if there's something built to that on the, I'm
East.
confused what direction we're in, right there,
To the
just that
east.
way.
Yeah, that way.
Then hopefully that'll be yet again another good thing for the community, that people won't be going in and out of Fern, the dirt road. So that's the purpose of that agreement, that we allowed that to happen if and when something is built there. You know,
Right.
maybe it'll stay residential, I don't know, or maybe it'll be townhomes or something, but
Whatever it is.
yeah,
Just-
so
it's-
that's
It's the connection that
yes,
I'm
that's
concerned
what we-
about, because we have these connections throughout the city, and I complain to Tim all the time about them, and he tolerates me saying something, but yours is one of them over there on Nova.
okay, yeah. Yeah.
and that's never been connected, and it really
Okay.
should. I want to make sure this one will be connected. The other question I've got for you, if I understand it correctly, eventually, if Volusia County ever does anything with Taylor Road, you're really going to have a 30-foot fortress wall. Fortress is the term you used. 30-foot wall facing Taylor Road. Is that what I understand?
Well, it'll be the building itself, the climate controlled self-storage building, which will look a lot like an office building with a lot of glass and architectural features and banding, will be along the front, along Taylor Road.
Yeah, you're
There's
essentially
no wall.
You're using the outer edge as your fortress wall.
The wall.
Yeah, there's a wall, yeah, a wall, then the landscaping.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a building, yeah, that'll be there.
Good. All right.
Uh,
Thank you.
Good.
Yep, I'm good. Thanks.
Bo can't vote, but do you have any questions?
I can comment.
Comment?
Okay. Yeah, and I do have a couple of questions. That question about the stub out, that was one of my concerns as well, and so I'm happy to hear that, you know, that'll be continued. How many total units, storage units, will be in that facility?
I think there are about 600,
600?
yes.
Do you have any stats on how many times a tenant would visit their facility during the course of a month, say?
Yeah, well, it varies wildly, but I would say, you know, some people, we've had customers that have been with us literally 35 years.
Yeah.
And then we've had, you know, customers that stay with us 9 months. I think the average is 12 months is the average. And the number of visits would be not much when you move in and move out, and then so in a year's time, if the average customer is 1 year,
Yeah.
even though it could be 35 years or 9 months, but in that 12-month period, the average would be 4 visits, moving in and 1 or 2 visits and moving out. So that would be once every 3 months.
So there wouldn't be much traffic. I imagine those 1 or 2 visits would be at Christmas time and
To get
Thanksgiving and so forth.
to get
Yeah,
their decorations if they're storing them, yes.
right.
But you know, we're talking averages there, and you know, some of the folks that have been with us for decades probably haven't visited their stuff in 10 years.
Yeah,
So it's really weird. It's in the places with the oldest people are older facilities, you know, because of the averages then raise up. So,
Mm.
you know.
yeah.
I think your biggest traffic is gonna be the boat storage and RV storage. That's probably because people are gonna be getting that out every weekend. That's
Well,
probably where your most traffic's gonna come from.
You'd think so, but actually,
I mean, if they're not, call me. I'll come get it out for them.
No, I know, it's crazy.
I mean,
Yeah, we have like the one on Nova. Those people haven't, you know, 80 or 90% of them never come. It's like they want to keep that possession, but they're not utilizing it like
I'll
you'd
be
think.
happy to utilize it.
I
for
know,
them.
and there's some beautiful, you know, RVs and stuff, but I guess they're not prisoners of their possessions. They have some awesome possessions, but yet they're worried about running them like you like to do with a boat or RV, but yeah, it's crazy.
Bo, are you good?
Office tenants, how many offices will you have in there?
There are 6
6?
office retail that we felt, and we did that really thinking that there's a need
Uh-huh.
in that area, because there's no available places like for Dr. Gilmer
Yeah.
to go. And
That's
if
right, there's only
his
6.
customers are right there, we're just doing it for the convenience of the neighbors, so they don't have to drive too far down the road.
Well, it's a great design. I really like the design of the building and the elevation. And, you know, I think it'd be very appealing along that stretch. So, you know, I like the concept. So later, before you leave, I want to shake your hand. So,
Oh yeah, you're careful. He's got a grip.
Elbow bump.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peace.
All right, that's all I got.
I have no questions, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Penelope, can you rejoin us? If everybody can ask Penelope any questions you have, so we're not dragging her back and forth, that would be great.
Okay, yeah.
Lance, anything for Penelope?
So yeah, I mean, so this leads me back to the, I guess, the other property that we've talked about, and I know this was one of the deals. This was property in the front, and there was a property in the back, if you will. Is the property in the back happening? And
No, the council denied that on first reading.
so what happens there? I mean, so we put this road back there in an effort to, if the future ever did happen, that
Yeah.
would be, because it was important that that piece of property be at this red light.
Yes, so regardless of how this property develops, when this property ever develops, as of right now, it still has its county land use and zoning on it, because
Okay.
it was denied at council. So what is in the MDA is that, prior to what's proposed before you tonight, if it gets approved, if the zoning gets, and land use gets approved, and they submit a site plan, before we can issue a development order for that site plan, they will have to provide this access easement to that property, so that whatever develops there in the future
Okay.
has to use this signalized intersection.
So
That's
we're
their
on
way
the
out.
same page for the future.
Yes,
if
yeah,
if
just
this
planning
particular
ahead to
property.
make
So-
sure that all the traffic is using that signalized intersection that costs a lot of money. We wanna make people have
So does
safe
the burden
access.
of all that intersection now go to Andy? Pretty much? I mean,
Well,
'cause the
he-
intersection was part of the deal for the other property.
Right.
And the
Well,
road and the
mhm.
easement and,
Yeah, but
you
right
know.
now, if this develops first, those turn lanes to get in and out are it's required in the MDA as part of this development. That fourth signal head to be able to make that turn, yeah, that falls in, it's in the MDA as a requirement of this development.
and so during the county expansion, the county takes it from there as far
Mm-hmm.
as turn lanes and light expansion, correct?
Yes, correct. If this site plan comes in first, and that hasn't been fully funded and moving forward, then this development would make these improvements.
Mhm.
And then at some point in the future, whenever the full widening is in place, they would have the right of way to make the remaining improvements.
Is there any other fair share on this?
Yes, there will be. I mean, at this point, we don't. That comes with the site plan, but he'll obviously get credit for the physical improvements he's
Right.
making, but he still may have to pay into other fair share projects as well. So that'll
Right.
come with that transportation analysis.
All right, thank you.
Newton,
I'm good.
Stan,
I'm good.
Tom.
Yeah, that's the question I had, was on the fair share, because obviously Taylor Road, that section from Crane Lakes Boulevard up to Summer Trees is over capacity now.
Mhm.
So there'll be something that
So-
he'll have to deal with on,
Mhm. So over capacity for daily, slightly over capacity. Interestingly enough, on peak it's under. So and then again, those are those counts change. They kind of go up and down. But whatever it is at the time when when the site plan comes in and the TIA comes in, we'll be looking at it at that point in time, and we'll take into consideration the physical offsite improvements that he's required to build.
right?
And then there may be additional payments as well.
I know those traffic studies are really important to you, Tom.
Yes, they are.
That's from 2 years ago.
Are you good, Tom?
No, I got some more stuff here.
Okay.
So this is usually the Lance question. So on the landscaping of this thing, right?
Jeez.
Now signage.
No,
Yeah,
we're not even going
landscaping
there.
too.
No, the landscaping. So I mean, Acorn.
Yeah.
I know they put in the minimum requirement. They put in what was required.
So what's changed since Acorn is the new requirements that help preserve more of a natural buffer. After Acorn was already under review and in construction,
Right.
we passed those code amendments that requires mitigation for any tree that you remove in a required buffer.
Right.
So that's
right.
helping, we've noticed that's helping people to encourage them to keep as many existing trees instead of wiping them out and planting new ones that take some time to kind of beef up and feel like that original buffer.
Mature.
Mature, that's the
Mature.
word. Sorry, it's been a long day.
Unlike
So, so that's something that's changed. The planting requirements are still the same that they've been in Port Orange, and we like our buffers, but now we have that new requirement that is encouraging more of that natural buffer to remain. So hopefully that you'll see that with some of the newer projects coming out of the ground, and hopefully that'll make a distance.
Yeah, because I think there was, what, 7 specimen trees? Or
9.
9, thank you. So those stay,
Mhm.
those regardless.
Yeah, and then regardless of whether it's a specimen tree or not, any tree that's 6 inches or above, palm trees, pine tree, anything, if you remove it and it's in a required buffer, so the 20 foot in the
Mhm.
front, 25 on the north, 20 on the east, 40 on the south, in those required buffers, any tree that's removed has to be mitigated for,
Nice.
not just specimens now.
Right.
So that
Right.
that encourages more of that natural buffer.
Is that what happened to the springs?
That was also going before the new rules too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So that's, again, those have been so some of the newer ones that you see now about to break ground, that's where you'll see some of the newer regulations
Yeah.
in play.
So if I understand it, the land is going to be dedicated to the county. Until they do something with it, that's
It'll
going to remain
Yes.
the way it is right now.
Yes. Until
So
the
they-
county clears it for their widening, it'll stay green.
Right.
Mhm.
So the only thing he could be touching is that 20-foot buffer off the 30-foot fascia, the 30-foot wall.
Well, that's his landscape buffer, so
Right.
required. So it behooves them to keep it as natural as possible. Anything they remove in there, anything that you see in this green perimeter
Mm-hmm.
that gets removed has to be mitigated for.
Right.
So it kind of helps to keep the natural trees that are, the existing trees that are there. 'Cause-
Good deal.
yeah.
You good? He's debating.
Just checking my notes. I have to write this stuff down. I'm getting old, you know. I'm good, thank you.
Bo?
Well, once again, we're starting at the other end every time, so all the good questions are gone.
I know. I'm last, so I feel you.
Start anywhere you want.
But I do have a couple. Well, actually, a couple comments. It's going to be at least 5 years before we see widening, right? 5 to 10 is.
I really can't answer that question.
Well-
It's on the unfunded list, which means it's not on the long term. It would get funded for anything on their long term list.
Right.
The design's there, so it's like shovel ready as you speak. But the fund is unfunded at this point. The county is aware of the need, but I would just be shooting blind right now if I were to give you a
But
year or two.
But I would trust you.
Yeah, not going there.
I'd say more than 5.
Right. And the other comment I wanted to make was that if a developer, somebody would purchase the property behind, they would have the ability to come in and resubmit for a project that would be similar to what was denied by the council.
They would have the right to apply
Yeah.
for whatever they want to apply for, and it would go through the same review process.
So that possibility still exists and could happen. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
So my question was going to be about the buffers too. I wanted to make sure that it was kind of after the whole tree thing. So I'm glad to hear that. But I am curious, the land that's dedicated to Volusia County that's staying exactly it's going to kind of block the building for a little while until the county clears it, right?
Potentially. Yeah.
So Andy can't do anything with that to kind of just make sure that the building has visibility?
The only thing would be just clearing up like the underbrush.
Underbrush?
But
Okay.
not the trees.
Okay,
Yeah, unless he wants to mitigate them.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's all I had. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, for public comments, we have we have received some emails from the community of Crane Lakes, which the board has received and read over, just so we know. And we have a Zoom meeting where somebody wants to speak to this subject. We can pull that up.
President of the Homeowners Association.
President of the Homeowners Association of Crane Lakes.
So, Joe Peterson, are you there? He's,
It shows he's talking.
His little microphone's going, but we
yeah,
can't
he's
hear him.
speaking, we can't hear him. On this end.
Joe Peterson, can you hear us?
So how about, wait a
Well, I
minute.
heard him. Oh,
I
turn
heard
it
a
on.
little bit.
That's Andy over here mumbling. Check, check.
So is there anybody here that maybe wants
Do,
to
are there any
speak?
public comments from the audience before we move to Joe? Robert in
Did
the
that Walter
corner?
get away too early?
No?
Hopefully somebody from IT's on their way in.
Nobody?
Someone wants to speak, Andy.
Alright, that's awesome.
Paid. You gotta get paid somewhere. You gotta get money to
We
get
could
paid.
turn on his camera and do American Sign Language or something.
Check, check.
Joe Peterson.
Maybe you wanna invite.
He's talking.
It looks like he's talking, but we cannot hear him.
Hang on, Joe.
Hang on, Joe. We're trying to fix you.
This appears to be not me, probably wrong.
I like the sign
Andy's
language.
daughter? You're Andy's daughter?
Or the, what's the game? Charades?
Yes, there you go. Charades. We'll play charades.
2 words.
Check, check.
First word. Second word.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaker or headset is
Yeah, we all need headsets.
Things that were unplugged back here, just try one of them. Because it says audio in.
Do you, try to call Margaret Smith, who's a representative, and put her on, I don't know if you can hear her, looking, I put her on speakerphone.
Hold her up to the microphone, maybe.
I know this is so out of my, out of my league. We've got the, Penny, if you're gonna call, can we use the actual?
Yes.
Yeah,
we have, I don't know how to use
The
that.
conference call?
Yeah,
conference
I
room?
can give you the number if you know how to use that.
Tell Joe Peterson to raise his hand and we might be able to see him.
Yeah.
He's talking to us. I'm raising my hand. I'm raising my hand.
I was in a Zoom meeting the other day and I had to stop the computer, reboot, and start over again to get it to work right.
We had our company meetings over to Zoom for a while, man.
Where you doing?
Hey, I'm at my back corner. I got the beach screen behind me. I'm drinking beer. Every once in a while, I put my finger over the little camera.
Yeah, I was at a meeting the other day and this lady is just so frustrated because she says, my camera's on, you guys can't see me. And then somebody goes, pull the tape off your camera.
Yeah, totally. The nature of the beast.
Yeah, the camera on this laptop is.
Yeah, oh my gosh, right?
So I have to do all my meetings at my office at home. I have it.
I liked him at the home base. I didn't like going to the office, man.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
We call it the Monday beat down.
See who gets the monkey? Are you done with the monkey?
Plenty of those.
Well, we think he can because he seemed like he was talking.
Yeah, you can see.
Joe, blink once if you can hear us.
So seriously though, Joe, if you can hear us, the email that I sent to you to get into this Zoom call also has a phone number that you can call to get into the Zoom and see if that works better. Otherwise, I have no idea what this number
If he could use his voice to do Morse code, we could
5655.
dot.
Joe Peterson, call us.
I think you better invite him.
Phone home.
Phone home.
We send out a police unit to pick him up.
That would be pretty comical. I'd want some video of that.
Roll the black and white out
Get him
there.
an
Send
escort.
Barney.
Roll the black and white out there, bring him
Oh, man, this.
No, it's
is.
the,
It's saying there's the speaker, there's no
There he
speaker
is.
plugged in, but I.
It's Joe Peterson.
Does it have an internal speaker?
Y'all, I am not IT.
You're supposed to be everything, Robin.
City clerk.
in. City clerk, no techie.
No, a little techie, not this techie. Can I have this, but nowhere to put it?
So Walter went home.
Yeah.
They haven't been listening. They haven't been responding.
There you go, got a sound.
There you go.
No output
Oh.
device, that's the problem. Click on troubleshoot, it's gonna tell you there's no,
Yeah, just,
there's
Oh.
nothing there.
I did that.
choose your input.
No devices found.
That's input.
Yeah, it looks like
So
there's
it's
no
probably-
output
There's no
device.
speaker.
You think it's connecting to the?
What was I gonna go to?
Let's go Bluetooth on this one.
I need to go back to whatever.
Or just do a cell call. Put him on speaker.
That's what they were trying to do and they didn't answer.
That's what
Walter
they're
escaped.
saying, That Logitech.
Yeah. That would be for the microphone though. That
Yeah.
wouldn't be for the speaker.
So audio would be the other I.
Oh, here we go. Oh, we already called her, she didn't answer.
Check. This tech guy?
No, they.
Way to come in the ninth inning there,
Anything
Tim.
Yeah, we called
Joe Peterson
Oh,
talks that we cannot hear.
Robin? Yeah.
We have Joe's number, if you wanna try to call Joe.
I sat next to her for about 8 years,
That's
so I know
amazing.
all about it.
This one's 904-755-4124.
No routes found.
I did. Go ahead.
904-7.
Wait, time out. I can figure out what the numbers are.
904-755-4124.
Joe, phone home.
Yeah. Phone home, Joe. Answer the phone. He's probably like, I don't know who's calling, but I can't answer. I'm on Zoom.
Leave me a message. Thank you.
Everybody wants to answer the phone.
Can, Robin,
Do you have a number for Dr. Smith?
they tried to call her already,
Well, it shows that he
and
talks.
she didn't answer.
We have no audio output device.
Joe, talk.
Can you hear him?
See?
No, look, it's showing he's talking, it's showing it's picking us up too.
But then when you
But
go
there's
into
no-
this,
Looks like there's gotta be a jumper cable from there to the speaker system in here.
Right here,
I have jumper cables in my car.
Wrong cable. Good idea, wrong cable.
I've got an HDMI cable. I've got a converter
know,
cable.
that's-
I've got a Mac. I've got a
and there's,
It's
lightning
just whatever
to-
we need to plug in down
Lightning to
here.
HDMI. I've got an extra pair of earphones, but
How can I have
That's what they
video
need,
off?
if
We
they're
need to be
here.
able to see people.
I say we move this meeting to next month.
What numbers did you have for Dr. Smith?
305 something.
I have a different number, you wanna try that? You want me to try and call him?
Robin, he has a different number for Peg if you wanna.
I have a 386-506-2818. I've got a wired line too.
hello,
That's
Peg,
it.
is this Peg? Yes, it is. Hi, this is Robin Fenwick with the city clerk's office in Port Orange. We're looking for Joe Peterson, is he there with you?
No, he's not, and I'm watching you on TV on your channel, and I see the issues that are happening happening.
Yes. Well, we tried to call him because we have a number for him, but he did not answer. So if you can get a hold of him, that would be fabulous, and tell him to answer this phone or call us back at this number.
Is the number you want him to call you on 506-5500?
Nope, it's 5655.
5655.
Yeah.
Okay, just a moment here. Yeah, I think I can probably get him like a text him too.
Okay.
And if he can't get on, I will go ahead.
You can mail us a letter.
I worked hand in hand with him, and so I know essentially what he was going to say. So let me just see here. Okay, 506-5600 is what you want him to call you on, right?
No, I want you to have him call me on 506-5655.
655. Okay, let me try to get him now.
Okay, great, thank you.
By the time this happens, you know he's gonna get this fixed, right?
Right. That's just how it happens.
Microphone, there we go. Microphone's working, it's test.
Yeah, Robin, if he doesn't call in the next few minutes, can we move on to the next items and then come back? Table this one and do the next items and then come back to this one? See what the Rona does to us. Thanks, Rona.
I finally got my $1,200. Finally. Oh, it all fell out. I thought, well, I'm not gonna get one.
Tabling it is actually the legit way to do it, yeah, because you're coming back to it in the same meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just, we'll give him a couple of minutes to call in, and if not, we'll table and move forward.
When all else fails.
When all, reboot it, that's right. When all else fails, kick it.
Yeah, kick it, that's
Bang
right.
on it.
Put a little
Andy doesn't
WD-40
wanna
on
wait
the
till
side.
next
No, we'll just table it and try to come back.
Squirt a little WD-40 on the side, that helps out.
I'm glad I plugged my computer into a power supply.
There you go.
Running out of battery.
Yeah, me too.
Don't want to hear any crying at the budget meeting this year for some new sound systems. At the budget
Dear
workshop.
council members.
It'll be interesting to see how this affects the real estate market. So many people have found out you can work from home.
Oh.
Joe Peterson? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, is this Mr. Peterson?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. This is the City of Port Orange. You're in the Planning Commission meeting. You have 3 minutes to do your public comment, so go for it.
All right, can you see me?
No.
We cannot see
We
you.
can hear you. Loud
Okay,
and clear.
I couldn't see you either. All right, are we ready?
Yes, go.
All right, Mr. Mayor, council members and the planning commission, this statement is on behalf of 6 of the 7 individual members of the Crane Lakes Homeowners Association Board. We 6 individuals support the request of Newkirk Engineering to change the land use and rezoning for the proposed all-aboard storage project. The HOA Board of Directors has not taken an official position that represents all of the Crane Lakes residents. You may hear from some of the residents with different perspectives at this public hearing. However, we do have a continued concern regarding the probability of heavier traffic on Taylor Road and sequencing of the traffic light at the entrance to Crane Lakes community. We are urging the City Council and staff, the all-aboard storage owner and representatives, along with the Crane Lakes Homeowners Association Board strongly advocate with the responsible officials for road widening, turning lanes, traffic light improvements. Thank you. This is Joe Peterson, Linda Nesbitt, Sharon Summer, Margaret Smith, Rick Esky, and Deb Trainer.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peterson.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good.
finally got that settled. Anybody from the public wish to speak to this before we move to commissioner comments? Seeing none? Bo, I'll let you go first.
I don't have anything.
Now he doesn't have anything. Tom?
I'm good, thank you.
Stan?
No comment.
Newton?
Done.
Lance?
I think what we see here is the ongoing effort to make sure that the surrounding properties are looked into and that these landscape buffers are important. I think with the code change that we've had with keeping some of the other landscape buffers is very important. And I think that's what you see here with this green space around this property. And this is the direction that we need to continue to move into when we're doing projects of this nature. Obviously, this project's a reach as we get further and further to the west. Traffic's always going to be a concern. And from what I've learned through the past few years is that these are about the least impact that you can have when it comes to traffic. When we talk about the overall concepts of zoning and what could be, you know, there's always the what could be's, and I always look at the what could be's. So when I look at the what could be's, I want it could be what is the least possible. And I think this is one of the least possible impacts when we talk about the overall concept. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Can we open these and vote on them together?
They're both open,
Well, I
so we
mean,
make a motion on each. No,
can we
vote
make a
each.
motion to vote on them together, or do we have to do them separately? Separately. Okay, so I will entertain a motion for the first case.
Make a motion to approve case number 19-20000005. Hey, my eyes work good.
I'll second.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Tom Jordan,
Yes.
Lance Green,
Yes.
Newton White,
Yes.
Stan Schmidt,
Yes.
Chair Mills Benay.
Yes. And a motion for item number 6.
Make a motion to approve case number 19-65000003.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Tom Jordan,
Yes.
Lance Green,
Yes.
Newton White,
Yes.
Stan Schmidt,
Yes.
Chair Mills Benay.
Yes. Motion's passed.
Yeah.
Make it look good, Andy. We know you will.
Connect the roads.
Connect the roads.
Okay, so we'll be opening item number 7 and 8 together as well. So the first item is case number 2020000001. Change the comprehensive plan future land use designation for 8.2 acres of Volusia urban low intensity to City of Port Orange rural transition. And then we will open case number 2060000001. Rezoning 8.2 acres from Volusia County rural agricultural to City of Port Orange government public use. Penny.
Hey, who's here?
All night.
All Penny all night.
Penelope Cruz Planning. The subject property is located at 6156 South Williamson Boulevard. It is just south of Cypress Creek Elementary School. And it abuts also VIP Kennel to the south and residential to the west and to the east across Williamson Boulevard. The first item before you is the future land use amendment for 8.2 acres to go from Volusia County urban low intensity 0.2 to 4 units per acre to City of Port Orange rural transition 0 to 2 units per acre. If approved, the applicant intends to redevelop the site with a house of worship, office, and fellowship hall. You may be wondering if it's proposed to be a house of worship, why are we putting residential future land use on it? The future land use element, policy 2.1.4, recognizes that public institutional uses are an acceptable use in a wide range of future land use designations and in isolated properties where appropriate. The rural transition future land use designation was chosen in order to ensure that only residential uses or a specifically approved public institutional use could be developed on the site. In this case, the development of a house of worship on the subject property would be appropriate public institutional use because the subject property is accessible by Williamson Boulevard and Arterial Road. It's adjacent to other non-residential uses, Cypress Creek Elementary and VIP Kennel, and the size of the property allows for sufficient buffers to be installed adjacent to the residential uses. The second item is the request to rezone the property from Volusia County A2 to government public use. Based on the theoretical maximum analysis that was in the staff report, the amendment results in a net decrease in impacts to public infrastructure, and all public infrastructure has available capacity for the amendment. Staff also examined the potential impacts to public infrastructure based on the actual intended use of a house of worship, and the anticipated impacts to public infrastructure would still result in a decrease compared to the residential designation. As with all future development, a detailed technical review from the Staff Development Review Committee will be conducted once a site plan is submitted to ensure that all land development code regulations are complied with. The property will be subject to concurrency at the time of development, and similar to all other developments in the area, would be subject to a potential transportation fair share agreement with the city and possibly with the county as well, pay for any potential scheduled improvements to impacted areas, and may also have to build some improvements, physical improvements, to improve access to the property. So staff is recommending approval, and the applicant is here to answer any questions you may have.
If it suits the board, do you guys want to hear from the applicant first?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Come on up and introduce yourself, please.
We got two of them.
Introduce both yourselves, please.
Okay, Pete Kierstead, I'm the pastor of Thrive Community Church. Good evening. For the record, Michael Woods, law firm Cobb Cole, 231 North Woodland Boulevard in DeLand, also here on behalf of the applicant. Actually, kind of a unique situation for me to be here in front of you asking for effectively a reduction in density and intensity with the request. Again, this was done, the request as proposed before you was kind of a staff's recommendation. We know what the end use is to be, is the house of worship, and the idea was to provide for the transition from a county designation to city, was to identify kind of the least offensive, least potential for intensity possible, and the proposal before you is what was identified by staff. Really happy to answer any questions you may have on this, but again, this is one of those, it's been a while since I got to come before a body like this with a reduction. So again, happy to answer any questions.
Bo, anything?
No?
It's the second time I tried to let you go first.
I know, I appreciate that too.
Tom?
No, I'm good. I spoke
Stan?
with Pastor Pete already, thank you.
Newton?
No, I'm happy to have somebody come before us asking for a reduction.
Me too. It's super exciting. Lance?
Nothing yet.
Okay.
I won't make a habit of it, but it's happy to do it. every
No,
now
please
and then.
make a habit of
I think it's kind of funny you guys are flip-flopping with Christ the King.
Mm.
They're going to Spruce Creek and you're going to
Yes.
Taylor, or to Williamson.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Any questions?
Lance, questions for Penelope?
So, currently the county, this is a county piece of property,
Correct, it's unincorporated.
and we're
We're annexing it.
bringing it into the city, and then when it's brought into the city, it's going to be taken off the tax roll anyway. It's going to be taken off the tax roll because it's a church.
I believe so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all I know.
Newton?
No, I'm good.
Stan?
Well, neither of these issues affect whether it's annexed into the city or not. This is just, right?
Right.
Well, the annexation, we can't put land use unless it's annexed, but the
Right.
annexation
Right.
only goes to city council. So we have to do this
Yeah,
part
so-
first
So
here.
neither of these
Yeah.
two have it would have an impact on it, but
Mhm.
that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking
Yeah.
about the land use and zoning.
Right.
Mhm.
No, that's it.
You good? Tom?
Yes, I have a question for you. If this goes to a zoning of GPU, can they put a cell tower up there?
Good question.
They would have to go through the new criteria in the code, which requires them to first look at existing towers and also look at city-owned property first. So there's new criteria that wasn't in place back in the day that they have to go through that criteria and prove that those are not feasible options.
When's the earliest they could start using the building that's currently on the property? Could they be using it for any kind of commercial activity for an office of a
Not
church?
under the city's jurisdiction. They're not technically in the city yet.
Right.
So I can't
understand
speak
that.
to what the county would allow. Once they're annexed into the city, we would still need to do a site plan for the office if they wanted to start with the. I believe their intention is, and Pastor P could probably speak to that more, is to start off with the office use first. And then slowly build the house of worship, but they would still have to do a site plan for that.
Right, and bring that up to commercial requirements?
Yes, with the landscape buffers and parking.
Right, okay. Do churches, are they part of the commercial,
Yes.
annual commercial inspection
Yes.
requirements? Good. Okay, that's all I had, thank you.
Bo? Nothing? I think I'm good too.
Okay.
Can I get one more comment from Pastor Pete?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, as time goes on here, the intent of this is for you guys to move from, you're in the Spruce Creek High School now, you're
Correct.
moving it out to this facility. And eventually it's the house that's gonna actually be converted into the house of worship, I guess you would call it. Is it a house on the property?
There's a house on the property that's going to become our office complex.
Okay, and then you're gonna build a new building for? Okay. And is it, something that, again, this is just something of mine, is could the parking lot be grassed? Or could the parking lot remain dirt or trees or whatever? And what I'm against is going out there and paving this property.
Well, considering
Same as I was
paving
of
it
the
would
other
be
ones.
much more expensive than leaving it,
And-
we'd be very happy to leave it as natural as we could.
And that's one of my angles with this. I hate to lose this property, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful piece of property,
Yeah.
and I'm happy for you guys.
Thank you.
One of your guys is one of my neighbors,
Okay.
Dave, and so, but I would like to see it, to remain as natural as possible as well. And that's very important, I think, on this particular piece. This is a beautiful piece, and
It is.
I just don't want to see it being made a parking lot, you know what I mean?
I
So
agree.
hopefully we can work with staff and get the required handicap spots you need in concrete or whatever, but the rest of it to be remaining natural and
Maybe the
dirt or
parking lot
whatever.
could be in the back,
okay?
so you don't see
So,
Andrew, you've done a lot of drawings on parking lots.
yeah.
Okay.
The code already allows, Penelope Cruz, sorry, the code already allows 50% of parking for houses of worship to be grass or unpaved. And then depending on the site conditions, we have other provisions in the land development code that could allow for more of a percentage if they're trying to preserve more natural and trees and stuff. So that's already allowed by code.
Okay, perfect.
For
All right,
houses of worship.
Andrew, you can sit back down. We don't need you. We had to wake him up. Anyway. Okay, that's my main thing. It's a beautiful piece. Like I said, it's it's right downtown in the center of my area,
Yeah.
and I just want to see it, remain as natural as all possible, and it still get what you guys need done as well. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any comments from the public to this? We don't have any Zooms? Good. Phew.
He was the only one for tonight.
Pardon me?
He was the only one for tonight.
He was the only one.
Mm.
No public comments? Commissioner comments? Bo?
It's good. Like it.
You're too easy tonight.
I know.
Tom?
Yeah, after he was ready to ask questions. I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
Nothing here.
Newton? Lance?
Again, it just goes back to the groundwork. These small churches moving into the community like we did the other one, and the other one remaining with a natural parking lot and leaving the trees and this is another perfect example of something that we can shape on this property if approved. That's all I got.
I totally agree. So, I will will entertain a motion for the first case, item number 7.
Make a motion to approve case number 20-20000001.
Second?
Roll, please.
Bill Bothamy,
Yes.
Tom Jordan,
Yes.
Lance Green,
Yes.
Newton White,
Yes.
Stan Schmidt,
Yes.
Chair Mills Benet.
Yes. And for item number 8.
Now I'll make them all in, I guess.
Well, you got the glasses on.
Yeah.
We're trying out your eye.
I got new eyes,
Yeah, we're
yeah.
trying
yeah,
out.
we're good.
Case number.
Make a motion to approve case number 20-600000001.
Second?
Roll, please.
Bill Bothamy,
Yes.
Tom Jordan,
Yes.
Lance Green,
Yes.
Newton White,
Yes.
Stan Schmidt,
Yes.
Chair Mills Benet.
Yes.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you guys so much for coming tonight, joining us in person.
Welcome to Port Orange soon.
I've been in Port Orange for a while, just got a permanent home, hopefully.
Yes. Item number 9, case number 20-4000001. Amend the master development agreement and conceptual development plan for the Home Depot planned commercial development. And we get Penny again.
Well, if you're curious, planning. So the subject property is at 1551 Dunlawton Avenue. This is the 4th amendment to the Home Depot MDA and concept plan related to outdoor storage and display of merchandise, storage and display of rental equipment and vehicles, general small expansion to the building, and some flexibility for the existing city sign out there. If approved, Home Depot intends to submit their site plan to put what's in this MDA amendment onto their site plan. So the current Home Depot MDA does not permit the outdoor display of storage except for seasonal sale items, which is identified as plant material. And if any of you all have been to Home Depot, similar to the item that we had back in the fall for Lowe's, that's not really the case,
Never the
current
case.
conditions. But the LDC does allow for outdoor display as long as it's shown on an approved site plan. So in order to get to an approved site plan that shows this, first they need to amend their master development agreement. So hopefully you can see this. If not, it's in the staff report. Probably a little bit easier way to see it. Basically, the applicant is requesting to amend their MDA for what we just discussed for that outdoor display storage of material. You can also see here in the green, these are some parking spaces that they would like to have used for the rental vehicles and equipment. And then over here in the yellow is where they're proposing to do a 2,000 square foot addition for a tool rental center, and the orange is more of like an outdoor tool rental center.
That's down in the lumbar yard.
Yes, correct, correct. So, so I think we already talked about that. This would be more of like a building addition, and this orange area would be a part of the tool rental center, but more of an outdoor access that would have similar architectural features like the current garden center. So that black steel fencing with opaque screening fabric and the concrete masonry walls to kind of have that consistent look there for that portion of it. Let's see, and then we talked about the parking. The other piece of it is where the city's sign is right now as you're coming into City Hall. That's actually on the Home Depot property, but there's an easement over it to allow for that sign to exist there. However, the MDA has some very limiting language in it. It was developed quite a bit ago when we first were getting into electronic signs, and it has a limitation to only 2 lines can be on that sign. So this MDA, they're kind of helping the city out on this part to remove that language and remove that limitation and allow the sign to just follow the land development code. So as changes occur in the land development code with signage, it can just follow up with what's allowed by the land development code. They're also expanding that easement area and giving us a larger easement. Right now it's 50 by 60. They're giving us a 60 by 70 easement to give us a little bit more space to maintain and maybe freshen up the landscaping behind the sign. So as part of this request, similar to what we saw with Lowe's in the fall, there is one policy consideration. the land development code does allow for this outdoor display of storage of materials. However, there's that limitation to only one type of any product or model. So similar to what was approved with Lowe's, they're requesting a policy consideration deviation from that requirement to not just be limited to one model, so that they can have, for example, multiple grills, or sometimes they've got the lawnmowers, things, so people don't have to go in the store and drag those around the store, and it makes it easier for loading and unloading. So that's the one deviation that they're requesting. And with that, staff is recommending approval. I know the applicant's here to answer any questions you may have as well.
We'll go ahead and hear from the applicant and then call Penny back up for questions. Please introduce yourself.
Good evening. Jacob Lawson with Kimley Horn Associates, representing Home Depot this evening. Thank you for your time. Here to answer any questions you may have. As Penny said, we're updating the MDA so we can process that, so we can move toward our site plan and be consistent with the land development code. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Lance?
Is there any buffering being required to go around the vehicle storage area that you see in green on the?
So we did talk about that when we were going through the process with Penny, and currently we have a hedgerow that's all along that way in front of that parking. And on the other side, further to the north there, you have the 6-foot screen wall between that and the residential area behind it, as well as other landscaping over there as well.
So what are those, going to be like rental pickup trucks, or what?
So you have the flatbed trucks. They do sometimes do a larger van type truck, so you can fit bigger material in it, longer pieces of lumber when it's raining, things like that.
Those are trucks for rental though, they're not like.
That's correct.
Okay, not something big semis we're storing there.
That's correct.
Okay, that's all I have.
You can have box trucks. How big were they?
The box trucks?
Yeah.
They're probably like 30 feet, but they would take up multiple spaces as necessary, which is accounted for in the MDA and in the site plan.
Newton?
No, I've looked at this pretty closely. Pretty good with it.
Stan?
I thought we talked in here about mini diggers and stump grinders and all this other kind of stuff also. Is that included in this?
So it actually lists the different types of equipment in the MDA, and there's a small skid steer, there's a small backhoe, there's maybe a ditch witch, those types of things. They're not large format equipment. They're equipment that can fit in a parking space or in the spaces that we've allotted here on the plan.
Okay, so, but that is what's going to be in there. I mean, in addition to the trucks that we talked about.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good. Tom?
That's strictly my concern, and really the concern is the noise. Most of those things are going to get started up. Those guys get started really early. I don't know why, but my concern is the noise.
So that's a good point. Now,
Because what you're talking about here is a tractor, loader, backhoe, skid steer, mini excavator. I mean, those things aren't quiet.
So it's a good point. They'd have to start it up to load it onto the truck for sure. Luckily, we do have that 6-foot screen wall, which would project some of the noise back onto the site, as well as the landscaping that should soften that noise as well.
Did you talk to any of the neighbors?
I have not, no sir.
Okay. That's all I've got.
Bo?
Tool rental is going to be similar to the garden site. Is that going to have the screening on the top, or is it?
So the actual tool rental center portion of the building that would be expanded, it will be all enclosed with a small area outside that's enclosed with the same fencing material as the garden center.
Yeah, you'll have small hand tools for rent in there as well?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. That driveway that goes around out to city center, the exit, that's not going to be interfered with at all?
That's correct. We're not interfering with that at all.
Okay, so it'll be the same traffic flow.
Yes, sir.
I think that's all I had. You've answered most of my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
So my question was about the same thing with the proposed parking stalls. I was wondering why you guys put them on the end with the neighborhood instead of the end by Dunlawton.
So that's just what Home Depot does. It's closer to their tool rental center area that they're
So
expanding.
you're trying
on.
to keep it all in the same
So
space?
we're trying to
kind
get
of thing.
everything kind of in the same space and keeping it consistent.
All right, that's all I have. Everybody good? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
back to Penny.
Penelope Cruz Planning, just to add to that, they will be subject to the city's noise ordinance, and the MDA does, with this amendment, language was added that if during the site plan review, or if when it's developed, if there's a visual problem where there additional screening is needed, that additional landscape will be required in those buffers. So that was added into this proposed amendment as well, that staff can require additional landscaping to add buffer.
So it won't be fenced in or anything either.
Not the parking
I
spaces.
just picture kids going there and playing on the equipment in the middle of the night sometime. That's cool.
Don't give them ideas.
Start up.
Yeah, that's right. Lance, anything for Penny?
No, again, I'm familiar with this particular concept with some of the bigger Home Depots down south, and the tool rental things are actually pretty nice. They keep them very nice. Like I said, with the language of the possibility of additional landscape being required, that kind of covers my bases as far as location for that equipment, but I think we've got it all addressed.
Newton?
Same.
Stan?
Yeah, we're good.
Tom?
This was noticed with the signage?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had some calls. And once they heard what was proposed, they didn't have any concerns. The residents from the neighborhood, they were more worried if there was going to be like redevelopment in the parking lot for like another out parcel or like more development there. But they didn't have any issues with this. Nobody wanted to be notified of the public hearings. So.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bo?
That small tool rental is going to free up a lot of space in my garage.
Wife will be
glad
happy.
to see that.
You don't have to rent from Andy.
I would say my stepfather's too, but he probably won't get rid of the stuff, and he's got about 5 of everything. Do you guys want to come rent some tools from him?
New business opportunity.
Yeah. I'm good.
Okay.
Any comments from the public? Don't everybody jump up at once. Commissioner comments, Bo?
No, it's time.
Tom?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Stan? Newton? Lance?
Yep.
All right. I will entertain a motion.
All right.
Tom, you're on a roll. Let's go.
Case, I make a motion to approve case number 20-40000001 with, was it policy consideration we had to worry about?
Second?
Roll, please.
Bo Bothamy?
Yes.
Tom Jordan?
Yes.
Lance Green?
Yes.
Newton White?
Yes.
Stan Schmidt?
Yes.
Chair Mills Benay?
Yes. Thank you very much. Item number 10. Case number 20600000002. Rezone area 1.95 acres from planned commercial development to community commercial. Area 2, 2.36 acres from Commonwealth Plaza planned commercial development to community commercial. And area 3, 17.9 acres from professional office and high density residential to government public use. Penny!
I covered it.
We haven't seen you in so long.
Penelope Cruz Planning. All right, this is another administrative rezoning amendment. You saw all this the last time we got to meet. So we're kind of going around the town and seeing where we can make things a little bit better. So area 1 is actually the existing PNC Bank. Area 2 is Commonwealth Shopping Plaza. And area 3 is a city-owned vacant piece of land that's got stormwater ponds and easements on it, basically, that prevent development. So, as the chairman just said, area 1 is looking to rezone from PCD to CC, Community Commercial, consistent with the remainder of the Riverwood Shopping Center, which was part of the first administrative rezoning that we saw a few months ago. This was actually supposed to be part of that one. We just didn't get the signature page in time to include it, so we're catching it up with this one. Just like the shopping center, it was developed in 1990. It was rezoned, in 1990 to PCD, but never had an MDA adopted. So it really limits what can be done there. The bank is not looking to leave or redevelop or anything like that. They're just hoping to have that community commercial zoning to just make it a little bit easier. Say if there need to put a building permit for an improvement, or if there is ever any future redevelopment, you just follow the land development code. It's very clear. An MDA, without an MDA, there's no development criteria there to go by. So area 2, kind of the same thing, going from PCD to community commercial. The shopping center was developed in 1970 under the old C1 shopping center zoning, and then was rezoned to PCD in 1985. In 2000, an MDA was adopted, but it had very limited permitted uses. So the owner would also like to rezone to community commercial to kind of expand to the more standard commercial use list throughout the city, and possibly aid in keeping tenant spaces occupied and not have vacant spaces in that shopping center. Area 3 is a city-owned property. Currently has professional office and multifamily R3H zoning on it, but it's, like we saw, it's got stormwater ponds and like tree preservation areas. So we're looking to put that to GPU consistent with the future land use. So this property used to be owned by FDOT. It was changed to a public institutional future land use when it was acquired by FDOT in 2000, but it never got rezoned. So the city acquired it in 2005. There's easements on it still that remain from FDOT as far as that stormwater drainage system, and so basically prevents any kind of future development of the property. So it's kind of just a cleanup item to have a consistent zoning and land use on that. So with that, that's all I got. Do you have any questions?
Any questions, Lance?
No, it's easy.
Newton?
No.
Stan?
No.
Tom?
I'm good.
Bo?
That's all you got, huh?
That's all I got.
No, we got one more.
We're good then.
I'm good too. Any comments from the public? Do we even have any public other than you? Oh, and Robert. Robert, you haven't gotten up once. I almost forgot you were over there. All right. Hearing none. Commissioner comments? Everybody good?
Good.
I will entertain a motion from apparently Tom.
Here, make a motion to approve case number 20-60000002.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Bo Bothany.
Yes.
Tom Jordan.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
Stan Schmidt.
Yes.
Chair Mills Benet.
Yes. I like these cleanup pieces. They're so easy. All right, last item number 11. Altamira Shopping Village partial replat, case number 19-500000002. Replat 19 acres of Altamira Shopping Village property into 5 lots and 3 tracts as shown on the approved Altamira PCD conceptual development plan. And we get 10. It's about time you got up to do something.
Yeah, I know. Tim Berman, Community Development. I think when Mike and I started the project, he had a clean shave face and I had hair. And you can see where we are right now.
And you had a full head of hair?
Yes. So, but basically, like I said, this project has been going on for a number of years. The MDA and concept plan, which kind of created the layout for the replat to occur, approved 8-9 years ago. And we're just now getting back to basically replatting the lots in there according to that concept plan that was approved 8 or 9 years ago. Then the lots are laid out exactly as the concept plan intended. It meets all the requirements of the master development agreement along with the code. All the infrastructure is already in place as part of when the project was built. Then it's just basically putting the lines on the ground then. So staff is recommending approval of it as is consistent with the Altamira MDA. And here to ask me any questions you have.
Bo, any questions for Tim?
No, I read through this, and I guess my only question is, for my own clarification, what is the ultimate objective of this? I mean, why are we doing it?
The applicant probably answered this a little bit better, but this will allow them, if they wanted to, this is currently owned by a single owner, or there then, if they wanted to sell Lot 8 off to someone then, they would be able to do that if they own an individual parcel then.
I see, they can't do that now.
Right.
I got you, okay.
Tom?
No, I'm good, thank you, Tim.
Stan?
Are the tracks just basically drainage areas? Is that
Correct.
the whole
Drainage
point of that was?
Yes.
Okay.
Newton?
I already beat this one out with Tim.
Yes,
Sorry,
we did.
Tim. Lance?
I didn't like lot 9 back then, I don't like it now, but no, I got nothing.
I remember that.
Why, might I ask?
It's across the street.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Okay. I'm good. Thank you very much. Anybody have questions? Okay. No? No? Come on down, Robert. I didn't even say public yet, and he jumped up.
Commission members, Robert Reinhagen, 1425 Dexter Drive, Port Orange. In trying to go through this, I've got very confused, and I still don't understand if this was set up 9 years ago. Why wasn't something done earlier? Why is it sat there? Was it just dropped, or nobody asked for it? You know, that was my question: is how come it's been sitting all this time without getting done? Thank you.
Introduce yourself, please. Thank you, Robert.
Got a double header tonight, don't you?
Hello, yes, hello again. For the record, Michael Woods, law firm Cobb Cole, 231 North Woodland Boulevard, DeLand. It's a little bit of all of those things. This was one of these projects that, quite frankly, I think it was the first project I might have worked with on Tim years and years ago. And out of kind of good intentions, we were able, you know, as at the kind of closing end of the first real estate boom, the city was kind of working with us and got us to get into the PD process ahead of the plat. As Tim kind of said, what lays out here before you now with the plat is what had always been considered. And then in the time that has since elapsed, there have been instances of kind of change in ownership. There has been instances where it sat in our office at one point because we had a title clearing issue. There was like an argument between the two different survey houses, and we had to find out and fill in the gap and verify everything happened. And every time a little thing popped up, we'd be like 98% of the way there. It'd be another delay. And it's been one of those, the proverbial albatross, particularly for me. And Tim and I kind of laughed. You know, Mark Watts was supposed to be over here, and when he knew I was here for the other thing, he's like, no, you go cover this one tonight. So we're really happy to have it kind of finally wrapped up. This is one of those, in all kind of full candor, this is one of those projects of when we talk to other clients about staying kind of in the lane of the process and procedure. When you kind of deviate, no matter how good the intentions are, you sometimes end up doing more work in the back end trying to clean everything up. This is textbook case kind of that. So again, if you have any other questions, happy to answer them. But we're very happy to have this moving along.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Commissioner comments? Lance?
No.
Newton? Stan?
No.
Tom?
No, thank you.
Bo?
No.
And I have nothing, so I will entertain a motion. Tom?
Make a motion to approve case number 19-50000002.
Second?
Roll, please.
Let me try to get on the second.
Bo Bofamy.
Yes.
Tom Jordan.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
Stan Schmidt.
Yes.
Chair Mills Benet.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner comments. Let's start with Bo.
Can't think of a thing.
Not a single thing, huh?
Not a single thing.
Tom?
Nope. Thank the staff for doing a great job. I'm sure it's been interesting over the last 3 months or so. We've missed y'all. Thank you.
Yeah. Stan?
It's kind of nice to get out.
Yeah, right. Newton?
Yes, I do. What's going on with the Riverwalk project?
Do you want to wait
thought
for
about
staff
asking that,
comments
and
for that?
Wow,
Yeah,
Tim thought he was
well.
getting out easy.
The rest.
Let him bang that out in staff comments. Lance, do you have anything real quick?
I do. again, just a couple things. Sad to see that the Waffle House is going out of business and the building is for sale on Dunlawton, I believe it is. Is what
Really? I
heard.
didn't see that.
Yeah, I heard it
Are
was.
you serious?
Yeah, I heard it was out of business and the building was for sale. Really big sign there for an expansion though. I mean, if anybody really want to expand. But I wanted to go on to comment about the property at Williamson and Madeline and the progress that has been made, and you know, it came in front of the council last week about a little bit of an extension of time by about a month, I think it was, for them to complete the site work and bring that property finally to the city standards. And I want to commend Tim and the staff for seeing it through. It's been a long battle for Tim, I know that. I was really surprised to hear that the owner of that property has owned that property for 5 years, and he's been stalling us and stalling us and stalling us. And I know that the city put their foot down just this week to say, you're going to finish it by this amount of time or you're going to face some other penalties. But finally glad to see it through, and I know that staff's put a lot of hours into that property, and there's been a lot of heartache with that eyesore, if you will. But I'm glad to see that that's finally done, and hopefully we can all keep moving on. That's all I have.
Amen to that. My only comment is I wanted to thank staff too. Very happy to be back. Hopefully we can stay back and not have to be home again and away from you all. Tim, you want to come on up for staff comments?
Tim Berman, Community Development, with the question regarding Riverwalk. That will be an item that you will most likely be seeing next month, as we are bringing another request has been made to amend the MDA agreement regarding the completion date for the restaurant then.
Oh,
so
Lord,
For the restaurant.
for the restaurant, that will be before you. Currently, as we speak on the restaurant, we are reviewing the building permit. It is back in the architect's hands with our staff's comments in, so they are to have the building permit in. We've reviewed the drawings. They're working on the remaining comments. We have been working with the contractor to get the site work beginning here. We've got some building permits for seawall replacement and working to get some of the site work going there regarding the parking lot for the restaurant then. So we are continuing to work just like Church on Madeline, basically with the developer to get that moving in a way we can help. But you'll have the opportunity next month to ask the questions as the development team will be here when they make that request for that MDA agreement to extend the date for about a year then.
They've submitted a building permit application with a contractor listed and everything?
Yeah, contractor listed, architect, and we've had our staff already complete the first initial review of the building permit, so they got a long list of items from Rob Harrell.
No, not Rob.
Yeah. So
And
they
that's
are
just for the restaurant, right?
for the restaurant, then they're working on that. Penny and the group, based in DRC, was able to get the site plan out a few months ago then. So they have a site plan, basically that's been approved to do the site work, the parking lot and drainage, and we are pushing them to get that started as soon as possible.
Awesome.
So to back up Newton's question a little bit, I know the city manager tasked the city council with their vision of what they think the mixed use portion should be. What became of that? Do we know anything yet?
I think they basically, gave us what their vision of that then. The intent is basically, this is for the south portion that basically Halifax
Right.
River Partners does not own, would be to put that out for, the proposals to see what type of development we get in there and bring
Okay.
that back here as, here's people were made aware of what the acreage is, what the uses are, and see what we get in terms of other developers saying they'd like to build this at that location.
Gotcha.
That's one way to see kind of what the market feels will be successful there if they're willing to put that on there then. So that's kind of the other item we're working on, plus keeping it with HRP, Halifax River Partners, to get what we at least know is planned to go there as a movement then.
There's
What are
still
the
2
potential-
condo sites though, right?
Correct, the condo sites are still part of the MDA, but right now the timelines that we're kind of working on are with the restaurant, and that's what we've got active building permits on then.
Right.
What are the potential uses of that property that you're putting out?
It's basically, it's got the mixed use zoning then, so residential, commercial, restaurant, retail, stuff like that, entertainment kind of uses there, office, hotel could be on there too then.
I see. Is the restaurant still at 5,000 square feet?
No, the restaurant, I believe, the fish, the last time we had it was around 13,000 square
That was
feet.
I was gonna say, I didn't think it was
It's
that
a
big.
pretty
Way bigger.
substantial size restaurant there.
Because that was supposed to be done in September, right, of this year?
Correct.
And they're just now submitting plans and getting them reviewed.
The plans came in I believe in March or early April. The building plans came in at that point then. And
So the building plans for the building that was supposed to be completed in September just hit
Correct.
City Hall in March or April.
Modular construction.
Right.
But Bo, the vision always down there was to be like a 3-story concept with businesses on the bottom and you could live above it.
Right.
In the mixed use area.
In that
Yeah.
mixed use section, yeah.
But now it seems like the council doesn't necessarily want mixed use, and we're not sure
Yeah, I
it's
think
actually
they kind
feasible.
of, some of them had indicated basically the mixed use concept down there then. Kind of, with commercial entertainment area then is kind of what some of the input we got from that meeting.
Gotcha. Anything else exciting for us?
Anything else to print out?
I think just the one news that we were kind of hoping everyone would ask is kind of what the status of the church was, but
I'd be glad to ask that because
Yeah,
it's
I mean-
beautiful.
So
I know there's
it-
a deadline coming up.
Yeah,
so
we
what is
actually
the
have
status?
the site inspection scheduled for tomorrow. On that one, since basically the deadline actually lands on a Sunday then, so we'll be out there doing the kind of the walkthrough on that then, and then typically with every commercial development we really do here, there's usually a punch list set of items that are kind of after the official approval is given there. On there they kind of clean up there. That's what we anticipate on this list here, and that's kind of what the 30-day extension council gave them is to work on those punch list items. That
What
might
do
be
they
big-
intend to put in there?
What's that? There's no use.
I didn't
That's
think
set
so.
aside yet then?
No. He's got a couple of doctor maybe one of them.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. So
gotcha.
the CO expire, or the CO has to be issued by Sunday.
It's a CO, basically, and a CO will be issued by Sunday then. But with every CO that we issue, look at Giuseppe's, look at
Well,
there.
yeah.
There's
Get
a
that.
number of items that you need to complete this task by this.
Right.
We go out there and if there's a dead palm tree, we're not going to hold you up for that.
I get that. Yeah.
With the sidewalks going along Williamson, the county does not want them to pour some final sidewalk segments until they're completely off the site because they don't want that sidewalk to be cracked in.
Yeah.
So there's little things like that.
Cool.
They'll still be working out there past that deadline, but the main focus will be to have that stuff completed, by Sunday then.
I'm super excited.
Well, because if the CO isn't issued, the
Well, actually, in this
whole
case,
agreement
basically,
is-
it'll be a letter of completion.
Mhm.
Will be
Certificate of completion,
certificate
yeah.
of completion
Right.
will be issued on this one there, but essentially that's the same thing almost as
Because
CO then.
The building's not being occupied, it's
No.
just the site.
I understand, but
Yeah.
on what they've permitted and what they
Yeah.
are supposed to do.
There. Then if anyone ever
Yeah, I
comes
just wasn't
in,
sure
then,
if they decided what in the world they were going to do with it once it was done,
That leads me to a subject, Tim,
we
now that I'm
just
thinking
wanted to
about
get
it.
it
But
looking
thank you
good
for-
from the exterior.
which I'm very thankful for.
Thanks for the hard work. I know you've taken a lot of
Yeah.
heat on that. We've called you. We've all talked. Thank
We've
you.
bugged you enough. We know that.
You had hair when we started talking about it. So it leads me to a subject though, because I was going down Clyde Morris and I pulled into one of the new gas stations there, I guess a Cumberland Farms or something in the corner of Madeline. What is
Madeline
that?
and
Is
Clyde
that
Morris?
Madeline and Clyde Morris?
Yeah, in front of the Walmart,
Yeah.
neighborhood Walmart.
Are we still doing the 1-year inspection at the end of their first year? Are we doing an inspection of the property and doing a punch list at that time as well? And I'll tell you why, because that particular building, as an example, has a lot of settlement in the concrete at the gas pumps. It's got cracks in concrete. I mean, I was really surprised at how beat up it was for 1 year old. Or
Was
not
the property
even.
not built
Are
up
we still
enough?
doing the 1-year property inspections?
That's through code enforcement. They basically are
I thought it was a community development thing.
well, when code enforcement was part of community development then,
Okay.
it was, of course, on that way, now code enforcement was the police department then.
Okay.
So they basically will do those property maintenance. I know that they've recently hired a new code inspector, which I think freed up one of them to be go back to being that kind of the commercial inspector then, which will allow them to do those more frequently and keep those on pace then. But I can speak with code enforcement as to when that inspection for that particular location will be and update you next week or
Like
next
there's a
month.
differential between asphalt and concrete on that particular lot, and I'm not kidding you, there's a 2-inch bump in some of those places, and I was really
Wow.
surprised at how it's aged really quickly in 1 year. But also it just goes down to the maintenance of these new buildings and keeping the look of these new buildings up. And you'd be surprised at how quick a building will age in 1 year. I mean, just with gas pumps and those things, it's a very dirty environment. And keeping them things clean, I was just really surprised at how it aged.
Traffic.
I know we used to have a 1-year annual inspection. You used to have to put up a bond for like the first year. And if there was issues and dead trees in that first year, you had to fix them or the city would take your bond, back in the day. But anyway.
Right now, that's kind of replaced with property maintenance. So if the trees do die, they go back, look at the approved site plan, and if you're required to have 10 trees and 2 of them died, they'll require you basically to replant the 2. If you don't, then they'll take you through code action. Then.
And when
So
is that inspection? Every year?
It's supposed to be every year. Then I'll have to get with code enforcement as to when they basically that one will occur.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
You're on TV.
I know.
Awesome.
It's just not
You good?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Exciting.
Glad to
Thank
be
you very
back then.
I got one more question.
Sure.
Have you ever gone into the Goodwill off of Yorktown? Come in on that parking lot, the access. Have you noticed that the curvature of the road, how it drops down? When you hit that thing, it really.
You mean the
know,
access
hit it
point
really,
off
it's
of?
gonna knock your front end out.
It's a 15-mile-an-hour driveway, Bo, not 50.
Well, there's no
Which road
sign.
are you speaking of?
Is it the one off of Yorktown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the only one.
It
like
is
that.
pretty
Yeah.
dim.
There's actually a couple steep grades in there. There's one in the back as well.
Yes,
Well,
in
yeah.
the back. The back
Pulling
one's
off
really
through
bad.
the BJ's through the paver driveway.
Yeah.
Going that way flat.
And it's a bit of a hazard because people are trying to get in there with, Yorktown's a raceway. And if you're trying to make a left turn going in, I mean, you'll knock your front end out. I don't know.
I know we've.
That section of Yorktown's like turn 3 at the Speedway.
Yeah, it's like Nova.
One other thing I did notice too while we were out, I saw some improvements going on in the roadways. Looks like our fair share money's out there. I saw where the turn lane at Madeline and Clyde Morris is being done.
Yes.
Where they, so glad to see that that money being well spent in right
You
places.
can thank her for that. She bugged them.
Good job.
It's needed. I mean, it's something that's needed and it's being done. That's what's good about it.
It makes a difference, little things like that.
And that was, like I said, the fair share project with apartments Lazul, which hasn't been started construction.
Right.
But that was one of the ones that we wrote in the fair share agreement. We were hoping to get a little bit quicker, but it kind of shows what you can do with the smaller projects there. They get a little bit more impact pretty quickly then.
Yeah.
How about the Yorktown
Very
extension?
local.
Anything still on Yorktown extension?
I think we've continued to collect the fair share money when we can on that project. And the next step is to possibly be looking, we still get the design to match the old section with the new section then, but that is still a continued project on the CIP list to, move forward then.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Public comments, Robert? No? In that case,
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
motion accepted.
We're done.